Hey y'all. So we're moving on into verse 21. Yesterday we did verse 20. My son, attend to my words, consent and submit to my sayings. I too wanted to talk about this passage in James just a little bit. And we've talked about this before. So he says to be a doer and not a hearer only. So if you're only a hearer, so you know the word, but you don't do it, you're betraying yourselves, which, that's trickery, that's deception, that's, not what you think is going on. It's not actually what's going on. But listen to this. He says, for if anyone listens, this is James 1:23, for if anyone only listens to the word without obeying it and being a doer of it, he is like a man who looks carefully at his own natural face in the mirror, for he thoughtfully observes himself and then goes off and promptly forgets what he was like. We don't do that. When we go to the mirror, we're cognizant, we're aware of every piece of hair, every bit of makeup, every blemish, every wrinkle. We are fully aware of what we see in the mirror. So in the same way, we should be over the word. And not only are we aware of what we see in the mirror, if it's not right, we fix it. And so the same thing is in the word. When we are reading this precious living word, when we see something that doesn't look right, when we're looking into the word, and that's what he goes on to say in verse 25, but he who looks carefully into the faultless law of liberty and is faithful to it and perseveres in looking into it, not being a heedless listener who forgets, but an active doer who obeys, shall be blessed in his life. It shall be blessed in his doing, his life of obedience. So when we're looking into this law of liberty, okay, that's the word of God, the new covenant. When we're looking into how to live, do, and be in his kingdom, right? His way of doing and being right. And we see something that doesn't match up with what we've got going on, then we adjust and we fix what we see in the mirror to make it look like what we see in the word. That is what we are to do, and what he's telling us in Proverbs chapter 4. Attend to my words, consent and submit to my sayings. Bring it into line. Conform to my way of doing and being right. Focus on the word. He says, let them not depart from your sight. Keep them in the center of your heart. Eyes and heart. He says, don't let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the center of their heart, for their life to those who find them, healing and health to all their flesh. And he's talking about his words, his way of doing and being right. Who's to keep them in front of our eyes? We are the responsible party. I want to look at Colossians 3:16 and Colossians 3:1. So we're looking at a couple of verses there in Colossians chapter 3. We've already read one of them, but let's start with Colossians 3 verse 2. He says, set your minds and keep them set on what is above, not on the things that are on the earth. So we set and keep them set. And he says in verse Colossians 3:16, let the word spoken by Christ the Messiah have its home in your hearts. So let's look at that in the Passion Translation. I thought I had it marked, so I wouldn't have to find it again. It's right up here. I did have it marked. Sorry, guys. It says, let the word of Christ live in you richly, flooding you with all wisdom, Apply the scriptures as you teach and instruct one another. Let the word live in you. Let it abide in you. And we'll pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.